Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon I bid to the audience who's watching this live broadcast. So I am Rasyidah, a student from the Faculty of Computing and Informatics. So right here we have a very distinguished speaker, which I believe that some of you guys have met him during our very first class for Integrity and Leadership course. So here, a sneak peek about himself. He actually specializes in corporate governance and anti-corruption management system. He was certified integrity officer at the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Academy. He was also an advocate, solicitor, and legal officer at MISC Berhad, an international shipping company, including heading the Academic Affairs Department at Malaysian Maritime Academy, also known as ALAM. Now, he's the head of Regulatory and Government Affairs Department at XOX Berhad, and he's also voluntarily started his advocacy under the name Project Bamboo. So here we have Mr. Balakrishnan, also known as Mr. Bala. And before that, I actually want to ask you, sir, what is it about Project Bamboo?
Thank you, Ras. Thank you, everyone. Hi, students. Nice to meet you again. So, humbly, I would like to say that Project Bamboo is my small, tiny pet project to educate the youngsters, those in universities now. That's how I got the name from the famous Malay proverb, Meluntur bulu, biarlah dari rebungnya. Hence, Project Bamboo. Because if today we can address people like you, the students out there, they become more stronger, so that when they go to the working environment, they are strong. They will not bend to corruption activities. They should not bend to negative things. They'll be more focused on their ethics. We, or the much older generation currently in Malaysia, may be difficult because the bamboo already stiff, as you say, the saying goes.
Okay.
So, meluntur bulu biarlah daripada rebungnya. Hence, we can shape it to where SPRM aspires, where the PM aspires. Even our Agong already mentioned the country should be very, very less corrupt, if can, no corruption at all. Therefore, I'm focusing my complementary project to universities, NGOs, including MMU, to instill the values from SPRM together in this project called Kursus Integrity Anti-Rasuah.
Okay, so I believe we're currently on the very last session for this Integrity and Anti-Corruption course, and the topic for this session is white-collar crime. Oh, okay. So how about you explain to us, Sir Balak, on what does white-collar crime mean in a way that is easy for us students to understand?
Okay, white-collar crime. Can you see anyone wearing white collar today? So people like me, professionals, we wear white collar but do the bad stuff. So, let me play this video so that you can see the issues behind it. Listen carefully. It's an interesting video, short one.
Hello.
Mr. Fairweather.
Speaking.
My name is Nick Halden, and I want to be your broker.
I've already got a broker.
Really? How's he doing for you?
Make any money last year?
Nobody made any money last year.
That's not true. If you're with me, you'd have netted 3%. That's after the crash.
I don't believe you.
If you got an email address, I'll send you my earnings report right now. Biotech and alcohol were up.
How did you get my number?
Your old broker. He's not smart enough to keep you to himself. What do you do for a living, Charlie?
I'm a history teacher, but I'm not interested.
The only history that's worth a damn is the history we make today. You know who said that?
I believe Henry Ford said that.
Yes, he did, and he was right. Have you heard of Reimer Pharmaceutical?
No.
Of course you haven't, because your job is to teach, and my job is to know about companies like Reimer before everyone else. You know when you don't buy a stock? When your cab driver tells you about it. Now, if you'd known about IBM before the invention of the microchip,
Would you have bought in?
Of course.
well, Reimer is poised for a breakout on the same scale. Monday, the FDA will approve them to begin clinical trials on a quantum-confined nanotechnology that has the potential to transform cancer medicines. And I can get you in on the ground floor.
That sounds like insider trading.
Not at all. No, it's completely legit. Look, I pour over 1,000 pages of scientific, technical BS.
So I can make you rich at $3 a share.
Let's start small, okay? 1,000 shares. I double that for you next week, and then we get serious.
Sounds nice, but I'd have to ask my wife.
Your sale just died, rookie. Mr. Fairweather, if you invest with me, the only question you'll have to ask your wife is what kind of hardwood floors does she want in her new house?
I don't know.
Life comes down to a few moments, Mr. Fairweather. This is one of them.
He's good. I'm in.
But let's make it 5,000 shares.
Thank you. I'll transfer you over to one of our girls, and she'll take your information. Whew. So, how'd my interview go? Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Believe me, I wouldn't be giving you this information if I didn't feel confident enough to own a few thousand shares myself. What do you mean you don't invest over the phone? Look, the Cuban Missile Crisis was solved with a phone call. We have to move on this right now. You don't get rich buying into a high market. The market is down. What do you need, an engraved invitation? Look, you want the good things in life? What are you going to do? You're going to work harder? No, you're going to invest smarter.
Oh, Jones, turn that down.
The college tuitions are going to be covered.
Now you're starting to talk like a smart investor. Look, this is a stepping stone to your first million. All right, I appreciate your business.
Come on, Crazy 8, let's go.
Okay, so from the video just now, sir, can you explain further on white-collar crime?
So if you notice the video, students, all the men coincidentally or planned in the movie, all were wearing what color? You can put it in the chat box or comment box. They all were wearing white color. Hence, white-collar crime, but that's one easy way to say it. The proper meaning of it, even before we go there, as you can see in the slide, it is related to unenforced and over-criminalized activities by this speaker called, by this author called Miriam B. Beer. So this author has emphasized the difficulty in understanding and appreciating white-collar crime because it's become so over-criminalized and under-enforced. I like the under-enforced part because if you're not enforcing, then the crime become more cancerous. So that is why white-collar crime is so important. As you can see, there are more white-collar crimes and also it's causing a lot of loss to the nation. As you can see in the slide, it's going very high. And in the recent Bukit Aman's commercial crime division, it has dropped. But why has it been dropped? Because the fraudsters, the white-collar crime people, they become more educated. They know how to circumvent. They're trying to avoid. In doing so, the crime rate slightly reduces. But that is short-lived. They become smarter. But why? Out of that, all the boxes there, you can see BOMO fraud also. You can see phone scam. You can see 4D fraud, all these things. But which one do you think? You can put in the chat box. This is afternoon, right? Let's have some activities also. What scam you think is the highest on the record? Definitely it is online purchase fraud. So back in July, this commercial crime has increased to 34%. If you look at the slide, it's average 65 cases per day. Today, as the sun sets, another 65 cases would have been done. So this is increasing. And done by whom? Educated peoples. Those who are students, once they start going to their working life, like you and me also, we become corrupt. We are supposed to be good once we are already educated, but now we're becoming corrupt. You can't say, it's not important, I'm student, I'm studying, I'm going to get my 4 pointers. But these educated people are the one, when they become graduated, they are causing crime, they are causing fraud. What will this lead to? Terrible state of white-collar crimes.
Okay, so on since we're already like, know bits and pieces about white collar crime, I'm actually quite curious who actually introduced the term white collar and why is that concept still significant for us today?
Yeah, that's a very good thing. If you look at the slide, white collar crime actually has been there, as I recall, since 7th century. The concept was introduced by Edward in 1907. 30 years later, Edwin Sutherland in 1939 coined the term white collar crime. The meaning which he emphasizes there is people who are professional, respected people like me. So I'm not a white collar criminal, I'm a white collar professional, ABAC advocate. So the main difference is they do not involve in violence, only in getting the money illegally. So this is where the white collar crime is different from other crimes. So how also the white collar crime came about, you can see most of the professionals in general, they wear white color. What color am I wearing today?
White.
Coincidentally, white. So generally, that's also another concept why they become called as white collar crime, apart from what Edwin and Edward has advocated earlier. But usually white collar crime is compared to blue collar crime.
Oh, okay.
Why blue collar crime? Because this lower social group, manual workers yang bersihkan longkang, kutip sampah, they sweat. When they sweat, the collar becomes wet. And that wetness is blue, therefore it becomes blue collar crime. And interestingly, it has expanded a little bit, but not that famous. They have gold collar crime, green collar crime, and grey collar crime also. But that is not so critical as long as we know not to be corrupt. Therefore, the white collar crime is more critical today because educated people, those of you outside there, university students, we really want you to be strong, ethical. MMU has taken this approach to make sure you do your best, become ethical. Do not deviate once you go to working life. Now watch this interesting video who will say more deeper on what's the difference between white collar crimes and other crimes.
The Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. Together, reducing fraud worldwide.
White-collar criminals differ from other types of criminals in one important way. They're much worse. The person who robs, your car and takes a $200 stereo, or the person who robs a 7-Eleven, hopefully non-violently, and takes a couple $1,000s, those people are involved in high-risk, low-reward crime. It's very risky to do that. You can get shot in a 7-Eleven if you're trying to rob it, and you've got a couple $1,000s. With the white-collar criminal, you have low risk, high reward. So you have somebody like Bernie Madoff who stole $60 billion. Wow, that's a lot of money. And he had a risk, but his career went on for years and years, and nothing happened to him until finally he got caught. And if he'd been caught after 2008, we're in an era now of very reduced sentences and prosecutions, he might not have gone to jail, or he might have gone to a country club jail or something. There are some personality traits that are fairly common among white-collar criminals, and fortunately, they're defined in the American Psychiatric Association Diagnostic Manual. They're coming under the category of personality disorders. The first is narcissistic personality disorder, and the second is antisocial personality disorder. So it's not like your wife or girlfriend saying you're a narcissist. It's like you have a severe pathology where with narcissism, you see everything through the lens of your own personality, what's good for you, what you want, what will enhance you, and so forth. Antisocial personality has nothing to do with being gregarious. It has to do with a total disrespect for society's laws. You do what you want, and you rationalize it, And it really doesn't matter how it affects other people. So when you have a combination of those two, the narcissistic and the antisocial personality disorder, you have a fuller explanation for the fraud triangle, the part that says pressure. The fraud triangle is really excellent, but when you say, well, what creates the pressure? It's not just money. It isn't just money. There is a definition of how much is enough, but for the big fraudsters, it's really not how much money, it's how much glory, gain, prestige they can get. So those are two markers for fraudsters from our research. One characteristic of people with personality disorders is they don't really change over time after the age of 24 or 25. So there are two factors here. One, these people aren't likely to change because they probably fall within some area of a personality disorder. Second, we really don't know what their prior record was. They will admit to X amount of fraud, but it's probably been going on a long time. Once they get out, they'll be happy to get out, say the right things, and probably, in many cases, go right back to it. There was one study for the Sentencing Commission that found the recidivism rate for fraud, white-collar crime, was 50%. So rehabilitation, that's a nice idea. The real point here, though, is harm reduction for us. How do we make sure they don't get out and start a new company and fleece everybody for the stock value or get involved in some scheme to take advantage of the public? And I think there's some pretty good indicators that prison sentences scare people off from fraud. That's according to one of the best judges in the federal court system, Jed Rakoff. And taking away the right to run publicly held companies, taking away the right to be a fiduciary financially. Anything that will protect us and prevent them from getting back into this is what we want. Whether they're rehabilitated or not is up to them, but the protection is up to us. Punishing white-collar crime has had a compressed and sort of roller coaster history since 1940. In 1940, Edwin Sutherland identified the term white-collar crime, and he made the point that white-collar criminals were very dangerous, and he gave examples from the Great Depression and the robber barons of the 19th century about how much trouble they caused. At that time, people really weren't sentenced for anything. You could barely get these people into court, let alone punish them. As time went on, sentences were developed for white-collar criminals, but it would be lower time, and they would be sent to what were called country club federal prisons. Okay, well, no prison is a country club, but there's certainly some that are much better than others. So there was not really a threat, and nobody objected too much. As really Enron probably, it seems like Enron was a turning point. When Enron happened, they crashed tens of thousands of retirement plans all across the country. The organization was basically a scam from the start. I mean, it was really amazingly crooked. You know, there were sentences handed out. Unfortunately, Ken Lay, who was the chief perpetrator, died before he could go to jail. But that's when people began to match up the societal harm with white-collar crimes and sentences. Bernie Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in jail. There were a couple other high-profile white-collar criminals around that time who received, one received an 800-year sentence and so forth. And what happened after that was the Great Recession, okay? And when that started up, people really, I believe, hungered to see the fraudsters punished for what had happened. We know that the crash was largely based on real estate securities that were sold that anybody that looked knew were bogus. The people that sold them knew that or should have known that. And as a result, $6 trillion of homeowner equity disappeared. How many people went to jail as a result of the fraud committed prior to the Great Recession, the fraud that kicked it off? Exactly one. Okay. The savings and loan scandals, which happened in the mid-90s, resulted in 860 some people convicted of crimes. So you have savings and loans, which was a real disaster, and then you've got the crash or the Great Recession of 2008. 800 convictions, one. That is part of a reaction to the harsh sentences that came just before the Great Recession. And there's a debate that you can find in the Yale Law Review and other places where people are actually saying these white-collar sentences are just too much. Why are you doing this? And the other side is saying, well, we have to. What's happened is judges no longer have to follow sentencing guidelines for white-collar crimes. So instead of getting 150-year sentences for Bernie Madoff, if you follow the guidelines, what you get are kind of nothing for people that are prosecuted now. I don't think the public's quite aware of this, but we're seeing a sort of a counter-revolution in sentencing.
Okay, so from the video just now, sir, I believe you can give more elaboration on it and also maybe tell us on the effects of white-collar crimes.
Yeah, if you notice from the video, if I can recap, there are elements of corruption, cyber crimes, misappropriation, accounting fraud, fraud by itself. So on the effect of white-collar crimes, what you all need to know is that it's causing severe monetary loss. When a lot of money is lost, this money can be actually used for public to build school, hospital, and so on. But these educated people, those who graduate and become working like you and others, I'm saying those who become, definitely MMU all are good girls and boys, they do fraudulent activities. Therefore, the effect is monetary loss.
Okay, how about, were there like any notorious cases that had happened in the past, sir?
Yes, definitely. There are so many cases. Let me show you through the slides. MMU student definitely can Google and check, because what I'm going to show or discuss further is the core of this white-collar crime, which is more important. This list of cases, you Google up, it's very famous, it's always there. Starting from, if you notice during the talk by the earlier person over the video, he emphasized on Enron. Enron scandal, it happened. It's so famous in universities as case studies. For a few days, they go and study on this matter, a lot of various aspects, how it happened. So the message is, big companies with good structures, still they can have white-collar criminals in it. Not only white-collar crimes in Enron, which cost 22.7 billion, also in Barings Bank. Barings Bank, it was established 233 years ago. So imagine a company 233 years should have good SOPs, should have had good governance structure, still there are bad guys out there, inside there. And one of the bank's customers is Queen Elizabeth. So, having all such reputable, namesake, famous bank, but then it cost 4.7 billion loss by this Nick Leeson, famous guy, also because of greed. Not stopping there, Bernard Madoff Ponzi scheme, he also resulted in a lot of loss, 280.7 million losses. Then, the essence of these cases, Enron, earlier cases, and so on, is that they underscore the need for vigilance, transparency, effective regulation to detect such offences. It'll keep on repeating. Is there a case in Malaysia? I'm not sure. What do you think? Or is that your curiosity?
Yeah, I'm actually quite curious because it's all happening in overseas, right? How about like no big cases in Malaysia?
God, what do the students think? Students, do you think there's a cases in Malaysia? You can put it in the comment box or chat box. So let's look at the screen. This is a famous guy. He's called 1 Cent Thief. You might have heard in movies or in Netflix. He basically stole 1 cent from each customer of the bank.
Oh.
So assuming like both of us are here, I steal 1 cent from your pocket today. Will you know that you have resulted in a loss of 1 cent? You won't know, right?
Yeah.
No one will check. Even 5 cent also lost, you won't know. However, sepandai-pandai tupai melompat, akhirnya,
Jatuh ke tanah juga.
so he became so lavish, he started having supercars. So, kantoi. Police arrested him.
Oh.
So that's all because of greed, but it happens. If you look at the next slide, these are the cars which he bought. Look at that.
So fancy.
So ladies will always go for all these fancy cars, guys having this, but check his background, whether he's doing white collar professional or white collar
Collar
criminal. Okay, MMU students, be careful. We also have Part 1 Telo scheme, scheme Cepat Kaya, also famous in Malaysia. There are many scheme Cepat Kaya, but it's one of the famous one. And this scheme or scheme Cepat Kaya was happening in a time when there was an important guy who was doing the same thing. His name was Ponzi. So that's why the name Ponzi came there.
Oh.
And if you look at the next slide, in the screen, you can see even bad guys have part 2. This guy is simply known as Jolo 2. As you may know, Jolo might rekindle your thoughts for the case of 1MDB,
Yeah.
which is a reported case in Department of Justice. And from that case, he did something similar, and because of that, they sometimes call him as Jolo 2. But his actual name is Tiao. So he also was caught. 580 million ringgit.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so maybe we can somehow look back in all those past cases and also make a reminder to all of us to not let it happen again in the future. So I believe that there are some types of white collar crimes, or maybe easier to be known as scams or frauds. So can you elaborate on us on the types of scams that's happening right now, sir?
Okay, to this I'd like to bring to the slide because you all can see quickly, and we can move on to more important matters to the later part of the show. So now let's look at the screen. We have Macau scam, name of the place of Macau, famous for gambling. This is where they menyamar, they disguise via telephone to cheat you. So I'll be calling Rasyidah. This is Mr. X. Can you please give me some money? But actually I'm not Mr. X. But you know someone by name Mr. X and you cheat. But why does it happen? So that is Macau scam. There are so many types for lucky draw, acting as a police officer, as a bank negara official, even kidnapping. They pretend you are the father or the grandfather and they try to cheat. And once they get the child, they do the scamming and try to get the money. This is very important. Love scam.
Oh, love scam. I believe that love is a very important thing, especially for us students in university.
Yes, I know you all love MMU, right?
Oh, love very much, sir.
Yeah.
MMU is you. So how about you elaborate on us how come love scam can actually be happening, especially towards us students?
Yeah, if you notice, recently, you can see in the slide, a retired banker, this is happening in when? Merdeka Day. Look at the report. It happened 31st August. Why is this happening, students? I know you all love to love, but in between the love to love, they do commit crimes. And this is one of serious white collar crime. The main reason why this thing happening, according to ASP Muhammad Mahathir, one of the officer in the Jabatan Siasatan Jenayah Commercial in Perak, because wanita-wanita, ladies are lonely, kesunyian. So never be alone, students, even you. Be occupied with your books, hobbies, and good activities. Don't fall under love scam. There's then parcel scams, Also,
Parcel scam. Does parcel scam kind of correlate to love scam? Because I believe that, some type of people, especially for us, we do agree with the fact that some people have the love language, right? And I believe gift giving is one of it. So, does this gift giving relates to the whole parcel scam, sir?
yes, and why this thing is happening? Because we are going to the digital age. When we're going to digital age, most of us who are not familiar with the digital thing, once you get a link, like an APK file link, they press on the link. The moment you press on the link,
Then it's gone already.
so the police has warned, whenever you get a link, don't press. Wait, verify, be sure. If you're not sure, got nothing to do, don't be overwhelmed. Press the link, you've won 500 ringgit. For a student like you, if you get 500 ringgit, definitely it's a big sum, right?
Yeah, true.
Definitely you'll click the link. So don't press the link unless you got verified it first. So that is very important. So even Post Malaysia have joined efforts with police to avoid phone scam and parcel scam. So all of us are doing this because the white collar criminals who are educated are becoming smarter. We must make sure we do not fall into become a victim, as well as don't become the white collar criminals. Also in e-banking also, another method.
Oh.
Now banking all is becoming electronic.
Yeah, true.
Ever since COVID. They have now made it much easier for these educated people to educate themselves on how to cheat you.
Oh, okay.
So we must tell our parents, grandparents, don't fall victim. Even if you hear any calls, also don't entertain unless you're very sure about this.
Oh, okay. So I think before we move on to the next type of call it crimes, maybe we can have like a short 3 minutes break. Okay, so I believe that the audience would also, go to the toilet, take some sip of coffee and stuff like that. So we'll be continuing soon after the advertisement. See you.
Belajar je, Papa.
Hei, kebenaran datang sini bukan nak belajar lah. Kebenaran nak mulakan pekerjaan baru di MMU. Bye. Tata titi tutu.
Cik Papa, dah bersedia untuk hari pertama bertugas sebagai kaunselor MMU?
Sudah tentu. Kaunselor kebenaran tak pernah tak sedia.
Tumpah tanya, boleh tak terangkan tentang kemudahan yang ada dekat MMU?
Hai, buat apa terangkan kalau boleh tunjuk terus kan? Biar kebenaran jadi tour guide kamu. Jom! Inilah dia perpustakaan digital Siti Hasma.
Wah, siap ada kafe.
Perpustakaan ini dibuka 24 jam. Sorry.
Lepas tu, apa lagi kemudahan yang ada dekat sini?
Ada banyak lagi. Jom ikut kebenaran. Dah sampai pun ke studio green screen. Ada studio moket. Mak 5G pun ada. Lepas kelas boleh ke gym untuk bersenam. Atau ke kolam renang bersaiz Olimpik untuk berendam. Jadi, adakah kamu berminat nak belajar di MMU, wahai anak muda?
Ya, saya rasa MMU universiti yang terbaik untuk saya.
Kalau macam tu, isi borang ni dan daftar sekarang. Isi cepat.
Tapi, saya belum habis sekolah lagi.
Tak apalah. Yang penting, kamu ada cita-cita yang tinggi. Tata titi tu.
Macam mana Cik Papa? Seronok tak hari pertama sebagai kaunselor MMU?
Memang seronok. Kebenaran tak sabar nak membimbing anak-anak muda lain untuk mencari kebenaran.
Baguslah, sebab ada ramai lagi yang mahu kebimbingan Cik Papa ni.
Ramai lagi. Pilihan yang terbaik untuk masa depan kamu. Carilah kebenaran di MMU.
Tanya Cik Papa, kami terima banyak komen positif tentang hasil kerja Encik Papa sebagai kaunselor.
Kebenaran hanya menjalankan tugas demi membimbing anak-anak muda ke jalan kebenaran.
Baguslah macam tu. Tapi hari ini, kita ada tugas yang lebih mencabar dari biasa.
Rombongan tadi kah?
Kita dekat universiti lah.
Kamu semua tahu tak, dekat MMU Melaka ni ada macam-macam kursus yang menarik.
Adik-adik, kalau kamu belajar dekat sini, kamu boleh ceburi pelbagai bidang kerjaya dan jadikan cita-cita kamu kenyataan.
Cita-cita? Cita-cita saya? Apa, Pakcik? Bukanlah, boy. Cita-cita tu kita kena pilih sendiri. Macam Pipi. Bila dah besar nanti, Pipi nak jadi pengarah cerita kartun. Boleh tak, Papa?
Hei, mestilah boleh. Di MMU, semuanya boleh. Jom!
Okey, jom!
MMU menyediakan pelbagai kemudahan moden untuk mengajar dan belajar.
Saya nak pilih robot yang paling canggih dalam dunia.
Bagus, Vijay.
Cita-cita Melo pula nak jadi peguam. Dan tangkap penjenayah. Dan saya pula nak jadi jurutera.
Bagus adik-adik. Muda-muda pun dah ada cita-cita tinggi.
Kamu pula Otoy, dah tahu ke apa cita-cita kamu?
Dah tahu, Pakcik. Cita-cita saya nak belajar di MMU. Pilihan yang terbaik untuk masa depan kamu.
Carilah kebenaran di MMU.
Okay, so welcome back everyone. Before we continue, I have a very important announcement. So later at the end of this session, we'll be having our quiz. So make sure you have your internet connection being stable and all, because this quiz is only for 1 hour. Okay, so make sure you can log into your EBWise account and be able to do the quiz after this session. So now, moving on to Sebala, I believe that we have this camp called fishing. Can you elaborate more on what is it about?
Okay, it's not fishing.
Oh.
It's called fishing.
Fishing. Oh, okay.
That's the term. But the maksud or the meaning is same. You go and fish electronically. So it's called as fishing. Fishing. So if you look at the screen, for the benefit of the students there to take notes, so this is what is called phishing. And it's the most common cybercrime. Look at the amount. 3.4 billion spam emails are sent to cheat you. So make sure it's whether MMU or capital M, small m, reverse U. Sometimes they trick you because you are so used to see MMU. Suddenly they twist a little bit, M becomes W. At the speed of you looking at the emails, you accidentally click, you open, finish. You are phished. So that's how phishing is all about. So it has caused, Google has also blocked a lot of phishing emails. But despite that, this thing happening because the Gen X millennials love to just delve into before checking properly. Not to say the other generation don't do, but it is reported that normally they're likely to fall victim. So globally, there are more than 323,000 internet users, out of which half of the users were victim of cybercrime. And Google is still trying to stop, but couldn't. And the cost is 136,000 loss per phishing attack. Now, they also have credit card scam. So all those using credit card is critical, careful. They take over the account, and this is where the identity theft comes. And ID theft is becoming popular now. I'm sure you'll remember about deep fake. Even that ID is being taken over. You do not know who you're talking to. Are you talking to Bala? Or I'm someone else?
I hope you are, because you're right in front of me right now.
Okay, be careful next time, especially electronically. Sometime I was told by one police officer, if I'm not mistaken, try to do like this whilst you are watching over the screen, not personally like this. So if students, if you see my image is breaking, then it is not me, it is someone else. Okay, so beware. Globally, this thing is continuing to happen more and more, and it's cost 33 billion of losses. We do not want this. We have to put a stop.
Wow, I feel like the picture in the slides, I'm also having a headache right now with all these types of different white-collar crimes. So I believe that, is there like any way for us to identify these fraudsters, Sebala?
Identify, huh?
Yeah.
You mean to know what's their profiling?
Yes, like if there like some sort of ways for us to know like what kind of category of individuals they fall into and stuff like that.
Can you guess, students? Well, you can see one profile. They wear shirt with white collar.
White collar, okay.
So I'm the only one having white collar crime, Minal here. So apart from that, the joke or the issue found as white collar, other things is that, now I remember, polygraph test.
Oh.
That polygraph test is important to know whether you are doing a real statement or you are cheating. But it's not admissible in Malaysian courts yet, but it's used in certain allowed activities, sometimes in divorce counseling, whether the husband and wife telling the truth or not. So this polygraph test video will show you what is it all about and how people also cheat. So these white collar criminals are getting smarter and smarter. So let's watch this video on what is polygraph all about.
Excuse me, ma'am?
What's Sarah doing here?
Peter.
Let her up.
You sure that's a good idea?
I don't know. Let's ask her. What are you doing here, Sarah?
Came to see Neil.
Hear that? She came to see you.
It's not a social visit. You broke into my house again.
Really?
Can you prove it?
I can. I'd like him to submit to a polygraph.
I'm not issuing a polygraph.
It's okay. I brought my own.
She has her own.
See that?
Sarah, if you had any proof that could justify this,
I'll take it. I didn't break into her house.
Great. Can I borrow an office?
This should be fun.
All right, state your name.
Neil Caffrey.
What color are your eyes?
Blue.
Okay. Tell me a lie.
That color does not bring out the subtle glint of hazel in your eyes. White stress analyzer, Sterling Bosch standard issue.
More portable than a polygraph, and I don't have to hire an analyst. An unopened package from the FAA was stolen from my home. Did you take it?
I did not.
Do you know who did?
I do not.
He took it.
What makes you so sure?
Package from the FAA. Kate died on a plane. Neil's involved.
The package arrived while we were working together on the Halbridge case. The same time you started playing nice. I think there was something in that package, something you wanted, and you used me to get it. Am I wrong?
You're wrong. Listen, Sarah, despite what you think, this situation has nothing to do with us. So why don't we call a timeout, talk things over, and get past it? Coffee, dinner, you name it. What do you say?
I say that you're also responsible for the theft of a Raffaele in April of 2005.
I only agreed to talk about the stolen package, so I guess we're done.
No. No, we're not.
Okay, so from the video, I think you can elaborate more, sir, on the white-collar crime and how do we detect this profiling of those fraudsters?
So this profiling of fraudsters, there are a few things which you can know, because once they've arrested, they found out the characters and they've examined throughout the time. So some of these frauds are by insiders from the company itself. So usually the employees, former employees are those who always commit this crime. because they already know how the setup of the company is, how they work, how they operate, and therefore it happens. Do you remember Enron case?
Yes.
It also happened in the company.
Company.
1MDB also in the company. So the recent case in related to a highway concessionaire, I can't mention the name, also corruption happened in 2 months ago. So all these are happening to do some corrupt activities. All these are white collar criminals. They are educated. They are university qualified. They might be holding masters. Why is this happening? So one of the profiling is degree holder perhaps, or diploma holders. And in the company itself, most of them are the executive or the non-executive director, followed by managers and employee. All these people are involved in such activities. When it comes to age, they are 36 to 55 years old. But do you think who is higher, male or female? Oh, okay, definitely male is higher. To a smaller extent, female are also involved. So students out there, not only the male, but also the female are getting involved in white collar crimes. Maybe it's lucrative, but they might get caught not too long to enjoy the evil benefit. So if you look at the next slide, very interesting, a lot of facts and figures. I would like to draw the attention on the left-hand corner. Look at that, at the bottom. No university degree, 100,000. University degree or higher, 200,000. Meaning to say, if you do not have a degree, you do less white collar crimes. If you without a degree, the losses are lower. Because once you get educated, you already know how to beat the system. So you cheat. So that's why white collar crime without violence. This is becoming bad and cancerous because not all people are equipped with violence capability on how to do harm people. And some of them don't want to harm people physically. They just want to cheat and get into money making only. So all this is because the company where they are employed in do not have internal controls. They are weak system in the company. So now all the MMU students watching today, as you graduate in the next few years, you already know there's such thing called white collar crime and educated people are doing, and therefore you will make sure you support the company wherever you're working to have better control system so that your colleagues while you're working do not go into these illegal activities. And most of the time, it's asset misappropriation, apart from fraud in the financial report. Technology, as I mentioned earlier, the digital part is an enabler. We do not want this. Therefore, it's important we detect fraud. And fraud is detected because usually by auditing, by having that knowledge, now all MMU students are already aware that such thing is white collar crime. So when you're going to work, when you graduate, when are you going to graduate? In next 1 year, 2 years?
I think in next maybe 2 years.
Okay,
yeah.
so now it's 2024, 25, 26?
Maybe 2-3 years like that.
Okay,
yeah,
so by
2020
exactly. So in 2027, be careful how the environment is. If you see, you can inform people. Informing process is also called as whistleblowing. It's also another term in governance. That means you preet, someone is cheating, someone is trying to do that. That will indicate to the company something's happening.
Okay. So since you already mentioned that educated people might fall into doing all these white collar crimes, or the victims might also be the ones get scammed. So how about maybe for example me myself, maybe if I got a call or something, and then I was just playing through it, and then suddenly someone mentioned to me, oh, that is actually wrong, it's not supposed to be like that, and I detect the scam or fraud halfway. So once detected, is there like any way for me to report this case, sir?
Yeah. Usually you report it by verbally, of course,
Okay.
by anonymous letter. All these are possible, but usually it's said people report through the web or email or even by telephone calls. But in the process of doing so, one of us would be very brave enough to face the consequence, and some of us will not be brave enough to do it. So the process of whistleblowing, notifying, needs a lot of courage. But apart from the speak up culture, what's important is the facts which you are conveying, because you shouldn't be saying something defaming, tak boleh fitnah. You have to give all the facts and figures. So all that you have to share so that the police or the enforcement can take action. So there's one more video on fraud detection. This video will also display to the students out there how important is this message to you all.
Second mortgage he supposedly took out.
Supposedly.
Yeah, there is a mild hesitation mark in the loop of the L. It's a forgery.
You're sure?
Yes. Forging a signature is all about confidence. Here, sign this.
How'd you do that?
Well, your hand is programmed over years to write letters a certain way. You try to mimic someone else's, and your own style will always creep in. But turn the signature upside down, and it becomes nothing more than a drawing. All you have to do is copy the lines. Your preconceptions about letters go away, and you have a perfect signature.
It's a neat trick. Don't ever copy mine again.
Never again.
You have copied my
Let's
signature.
focus on the crime at hand.
Okay, so sir, I think you can elaborate more, especially based on the video they watched just now.
So you notice the guy copied the signature so easily.
Yeah.
You also notice so happened the movie the guys were wearing white collar also. So maybe that's why it's so white collar is so famous. Well, joke aside, they can detect smart guys, and also they can cheat also on this fraud. So why all this is happening is because of greed and personal gain. That's the highest. More than 62% are causing this based on a study. Apart from capabilities, why they are capable? Because they are smart. Why they are smart? Because they are educated. Does that make sense? Your parents send you to universities, you study, you become better, you go to the employment, and you do white collar crimes instead of white collar professionals. Yes. So as you can see, there are a lot of reasons, but we want to deep dive further in the next 20 minutes or so. Why is this happening? We still haven't gone to the root cause. Why is this happening? So we must find out why.
So maybe I am actually curious on, because just now we already know like all the effects, all the like how to identify. How about for us like Malaysians, are there like any countermeasures or precautions or maybe like agencies that we can reach out to when it comes to all these white collar crimes?
Yes, there are many agencies, good laws, which are always, even at international level, they recognize Malaysia, but still it's happening. Huh? Why is that?
I also not sure, sir. They're smart, very smart.
Yeah. So before we deep dive further, we are going to deep dive for students. We are going slowly from the surface, from what is white collar crime, the types and the issues. Now we're going to go deeper. Before that, just like Ras asked, who are the agencies? We got in the slides, you can see Cybersecurity Malaysia. Okay, I have a question to all those out there. You can put in your chat box or comment box. Which one do you think is the highest? Is it the reporting? Is it the malicious codes? Is it intrusion? So the highest is, of course, the green color one, very obvious. It is
the fraud.
So guess how much is that? 65% are fraud, causing out of 3,607. So a lot of fraud cases are happening, and Cybersecurity Malaysia is tackling it. Then we got Cyber Casa, also an agency to assist in putting this white collar crime into silent, but they're still coming up. We have got NACSA. Cyber Security Act was recently gazetted by the Parliament to further strengthen the weaknesses in the system so that we can arrest these white collar criminals trying to lurk here and there. We also got our famous JSJK or CCID police. They are also tightening up on areas. All these people are together as a good stakeholders. Law enforcement agencies are tackling this to make sure there are less white collar criminals. But if you remember at the beginning, we said the most latest statistics, it is spiking. More white collar crimes are happening. Have you heard about Who's Call, students? How many of you got Who's Call? Who's Call is a free app. Of course, it has its premium too. Recognized by police, by Malaysian government to help detect scamming calls. How many out you out there not yet having Who's Call? What about you, Rasi? Do you have?
I think I don't use Who's Call, but I actually use another app called Truecaller. So I
Okay.
think it also have the same feature, I believe.
Yes, true. But it's just that somehow PDRM has recognized Who's Call. So therefore, so long you got some apps to counter the smarter white collar criminals, it will help rather than totally don't have. So do tell your our fellow students to have some apps installed also in their smartphones.
Okay, so I believe that, you know, since white collar crimes are like for, like sometimes the victims are also professionals or the smart ones. But is there like any chance that, you know, sir, if like this, like I don't know, maybe like why these professionals actually fall victim towards all these white collar crimes?
Exactly. Recently, there's a study made by Dr. Cassandra Fry. She did say how this thing is done. First, they incite fear. Rasi, I'm going to incite fear on you. You owe money, something like that, and you haven't paid the university semester. So you're getting scared. I'm Mr. Zakian, for example. So I've changed my voice through AI. I cheat you. So you might be scared because you know so and so there's someone called Mr. Zakian in MMU. So I say you haven't paid the fees. I incite fear. You become scared. And then be worried you can't complete your semester. Then I make you some more scared. You got your exam coming up. Your pointers are low. You better pay to me, I'll settle with MMU. Don't go to them. If you go to them, you will be barred because you already set time. So you already have a sense of danger. You are scared. Therefore, you will automatically believe, especially after I know a little bit about you. Now today, sitting beside you, I already know a little bit about you.
Oh, okay.
So next time I'm going to give a call saying I'm from MMU, better pay certain amount of money. So this is how they do. So don't fall victim immediately. It's very difficult. Try to remain calm, which is also difficult. If you can manage to control the breaking point, you'll be able to not fall victim. So if you don't fall victim because of this fear, then you'll become a bigger victim. So always be careful. Don't let the danger control you. Verify first and face the consequence. Yes, I have not paid my fees. Can I appeal? Can I have another 1 week or another semester? Fine, don't become victim. Unless you go and ascertain, is there someone named by Mr. Zakian in MMU? Is there someone named like that? No, right?
Mr. No, I don't think so.
Wow, okay, so good. So that's how it is.
Okay, so how about like, since just now for the previous slide, I believe there's the word psychological, which whenever it comes to psychology, I believe that personality traits actually, you know, correlates a lot. So is there like any type of personality trait that contributes to white collar crimes, sir?
Yeah, actually there is. If you look at this slide, Actually, there's an additional video. I put it here. Not possible. If couldn't be played, it's okay. This is called dark personalities. So dark personalities are people with mechanism, psychopath, and narcissist. All these characteristics somehow correlates to white-collar crimes. So they have this personality trait. This topic itself, maybe later after this, maybe we can have a separate session. Very interesting to know who these characters somehow become associated with white-collar crimes. Okay, so we'll move on. There's also theories about fraudulent. The famous criminologist Donald Cressey's fraud triangle, which says because of opportunity, motive, and also rationalization, you give self-satisfaction to say that this is fraud purposes. And it has evolved into become fraud diamond, which is including capabilities.
Okay, so I believe that we actually learned a lot already on white-collar crimes, and I believe that's actually the end of this session, sir. Since we have already discovered everything that we needed to know about white-collar crimes. Or maybe before we end, I believe you can say like few more words regarding this.
Yeah, what I would like to say is that white-collar crime is actually fraud. There are studies made. And if you look at the slide, students, this is the message I really want you all to see. Remember, Section 17 corporate liability will drag you and your company. We do not want this thing to happen to you. Be smart. Be sincere and practice honesty in all your actions. Uncompromising integrity, that is what MMU is telling. So if you can kindly scan quickly in the next few minutes to give an important feedback so that I can further help more students in combating unethical attitudes towards later part, and strengthening MMU students will be the best way forward.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Bala. I believe that concludes the whole session for our integrity and anti-corruption course for today. So I believe that everyone out there, the audience especially, make sure that you have your EBY signed in already, since after this session, you'll be needing to answer a quiz, okay? So that quiz is only valid for 1 hour, so make sure you have a stable internet connection, and I hope with all those 3 sessions that we had today, you had a very more knowledge on this course. So thank you to the audience and also Mr. Bala. I believe that's the end. So bye everyone.
Okay, bye, and say no to corruption.